Welcome back, and in today's video we have Aser Hayes. Aser has been one of my mentors. He's been one of my teachers. He's been a great resource, and I really appreciate him coming on the stream. We spoke a lot about different topics such as racism and the trades, what was it like in the past, and again, like I said, he's been a great resource. I appreciate him. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. I have a Discord channel if you want to continue the conversation. And like I said, thank you guys again.
Yes, for me, it goes back. I mean, I have to go back to I was born in England while my parents were going to college, and racism was a topic. So, day one, I was groomed by my parents to uh, be the best. Don't do anything stupid that will make us look bad. We had to dress nice. My dad was in a three-piece suit from the day I was born till the day he passed away, and literally that's all he wore every day, 20, 7 days a week. So, and he worked hard. He was the top of his class, unlike me, but that's another story. And my mom also worked hard, and so it was always from day one we were told. I have three other siblings. We were told to behave right. I mean, they were strict. I mean, and it's typical for a lot of African families that grew up overseas, that had kids overseas. They all experienced the same thing I did. They were hard on us, my parents, and so they didn't want to add to the stereotype, whatever that the Europeans had about us. And so the race talks has been part of my life for almost 60 years now. This year I'll be turning 60. So coming to the States in 1984, I was already exposed to racism in Middle East, Asia, Africa, even in Africa, obviously in Europe. So everywhere we went, we experienced racism, you know, and it's different forms of racism. Sometimes it's like, and I'm not going to say what continent or what race, but I'm just going to say the different kinds are: you're a slave, you're a servant, you're no greater than that. That's how some nations look at us black folks, especially ones coming from Africa. Or your your blood is bad. None of our family members will ever end up marrying any of you guys. That will never happen. And even if one of their child falls in love with one of the Africans, they would stone her to death or hurt her or hurt you. It was really, I mean, it's serious. So I was exposed to this growing up in Africa, Middle East, Asia. So when I came to the States, it wasn't shocking that there were some white people or even Latinos or Asians here that were racist against us African Americans. So it wasn't shocking at all. The one thing I didn't know was how bad it would be for me joining a trade that was predominantly white male.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that, and then I think I think a lot of people, because they don't get a chance to travel throughout the world, because whether it be economics or just like not the just don't want to, but to be able to see that racism permeates throughout the world. You can have people in Africa, and they can almost look from the outside look exactly the same, and they can have cultural differences, and they can still have prejudice, racism going on in different countries, or with Arabs looking at, certain people that they do import to be like servants,
Yeah,
them looking like them, like they're lower class humans, or like, go to India and you have different castes. So these things happen throughout the world. And I think that a lot of people look at America like, they're the main ones, they're the most racist ones. And I'm not gonna discount people's lived experience, like, racism isn't a thing that happens, but I don't think it's as common, at least openly, as other places in the world. You know what I mean? Where you can have people literally import people into the country take their passports and then pretty much make them slaves until like they feel like they want to let them go, or if these people try to like disobey and leave, they get thrown off of roofs or get thrown out of windows. Then it's like, well,
Yep.
who's gonna care? Because it's the equivalent of millionaires killing like homeless people. Like no one really cares, and that's just how it goes because you're not from here, so you're not really given the same like human rights. So I feel like the way we look at America is a little bit skewed, but I'm not gonna say that the trades being so white for so long, it's not going to be a difficult transition. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to have to be more readjusted to seeing more people that are, different minorities or different backgrounds where, like I said before, people aren't going to know certain things. So do I think that it's going to be a perfect transition? No. But as America becomes more like integrated, becomes more like mulatto, more like race mixing, you're gonna have to get over whatever prejudice you have because everybody is gonna either have kids that are mixed or gonna have mixed friends or mixed colleagues, like so you gotta have to get over those things that are kind of keeping you back as far as like your prejudice, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So the first year, the first 2 years here in the U.S., I was at Walla College, Walla, Washington, and I experienced a lot of racism. Um, the construction, not trade, but courses, there was only a handful of us taking that degree, going for that degree. It wasn't a popular course to take, but one of the guys I was close with, he told me I couldn't come to his dorm room because he shared the dorm room with his brother, but his brother is a KKK member. So I thought, wow, that's crazy, so close to me. And so I was doing construction classes, working at the dairy drive-through. I remember people will order their stuff, milk, butter, and all that, and they'll drive around the corner. When they come to that little window, and I've got all their products in front of me to get their cash and give them their product, they'll tell me, "We don't want it because I touched it." And they said, "Why you guys come here? You guys are nothing but trouble." And I remember one day, different times, but I had a T-shirt with a British flag on the front, and I remember an elderly couple, obviously, again, didn't want to purchase the stuff I touched, the milk, gallon milk, whatever. And that's it. And then it says, "Why do you guys come here? And if you're here, why are you wearing the British flag? And why aren't you wearing the American flag? You guys are nothing but trouble. Just get out of here." And I told the guy, I was new to the U.S. and I haven't purchased a T-shirt with American flag. And I said, "I'll be glad to wear one. I don't have one, and I'm not just wearing this for because I'm a British citizen. I'm this is my flag." And even bringing dry ice from the back room to the front so they can put it in the shopping bag when they bought ice cream, since they have to travel quite a ways. I put gloves on and chipped on the dry ice and put it in the bag, and I'll bring it to the front so that they can package it for the clients, and they would be mad that uh, I brought the dry ice from the back. And I remember they wouldn't want the ice cream once they find out I brought the dry ice from the back room. So it was kind of a rude. I mean, it was an eye opener that people would be so racist. And that was my first year in the U.S. So it was rough. I
And
mean, it was rough as in it's not like I was hurt. It's just I just knew these guys had issues. I felt sorry for them. And it was just that was my first year in the U.S. and I just had to learn that there's some areas I'm gonna have to stay away from. Some areas people are friendly to me. Some areas I know they're not gonna be friendly to me, and I have to move myself away from them. But I'll tell you one thing: my first experience was that, and but the guys I went to school with, they weren't like buddy buddies with me, but they were okay with me, and we worked, together. And I know the teachers, all older white guys, they liked me and they really wanted me to excel. and I spent a lot of time with them, and I felt loved by them, and everything felt good. But when I went to Southern California, the construction team was half Latinos, half white guys, and the foreman is a white guy. And so when I got there, I'm trying to be friendly with everybody, and obviously I the first group I went to were the white guys. I don't want to say Americans, but anyhow. So the white guys, because the foreman was white, and I went to school with white guys, so I felt like I can go talk to them, but they didn't want me around. They didn't want me to sit with them during break time or lunchtime. So I figured, well, can't hang out with the white guys, I better hang out with the Latinos. But the Latinos weren't that warm to me initially. But after a while, they realized the white guys didn't want me, and I was actually being a good liaison between the Latinos and the white guys. So the Latinos let me sit with them and do lunch or whatever. But that was kind of an awkward place because I wasn't Latino, I wasn't white. There was no other black person in town that was doing kind of the work I was doing. So that was another eye opener right there,
I think sometimes people on one side, whether it be like conservatives or Republicans, they're so quick to dismiss racism, right? Like, you guys have been freed for this long. You guys had voting rights for this long. So now all the things that happened in the past, that was the past. Get over it. But then I also see like another side where, you have people that are trying to drum up these emotions and people that never really experienced some of the things you have. So I understand like where you can have reservations because you've experienced some discrimination, like where people were like actively discriminating against you. And it wasn't like something where, it could have been like a misunderstanding or only in your head. Like they were literally, vocalizing why they didn't like you. It's because of your race. It was straight prejudice. But I see now there's a lot of people who are clutching onto a victimhood that they actively are not experiencing, where they're not experiencing extreme discrimination now. And in fact, especially like in the unions, or there's certain jobs where they actively want to see more diverse faces in there. They want to see more black people in these trades. They want to see more women in the trade. So if you are one of these minority status people, you might have a little easier time getting into the union or the apprenticeship because it's so difficult to get these people who have never been inside the trades before to get them in initially. So I definitely have seen, um, them actively seeking those people out. So to me, what confuses me is when people who haven't firsthand seen discrimination and things have gotten so much better for them to still clutch on to like this narrative that, the trades or the union is it the worst place for a black person. I've literally talked to other carpenters and they said they would rather be like parking attendants. And I'm just like, or a janitor at high school. And I'm just thinking, like, first of all, you can't really afford to feed a family like that. And second of all, like, what exactly have you experienced that makes you want to leave the trades? And like, well, I got some salty looks and I think my foreman's racist. And it's like, what makes you think that? It's like, oh, because they gave me a shitty job and they always make me scrape boards and clean up. And it's like, well, guess what? Everybody has to do that. And if that's the worst thing that you have to go through, if that's a discrimination that you're feeling, and I mean, everybody goes through that. And just think about like where we've come from. You know what I mean? Just like people were getting lynched because of vigilante mobs. You know what I mean? Like we're not experiencing that kind of discrimination, that kind of hatred, that kind of vitriol. If you're kind of getting the short end of the stick, yes, it does suck, but we are progressing to something. We are making inroads, so let's focus on that, because just clutching on to this victimhood narrative and clutching on to this like racism, America's more racist than ever before, it's like that's not true and it makes you look dishonest and disgenuine. So let's not do that. Let's focus on what we can focus on, especially in our union. Like we live in Portland, we live in one of the most progressive areas in the country. If this isn't the bastion of what you think America should look like, I don't know exactly what you want.